Okay, everybody, welcome back to another show here. This is Gavin. We're going to go ahead and get Matt Welsh back on today from BluvnBü. We talked on X, and we had him back on a few months back. We talked everything about BSV charts, what the catalyst could be for BSV. It's kind of a follow up also to the Jack Pitts interview that I just posted today. And so we want to just really open up and follow up on some of the conversations we had last time with you, Matt, and see where that leads us. So how you doing, buddy? Welcome back.
Hey man, I'm doing great. It's great to do a follow-up interview. It must have been like 2 or 3 months the last time we spoke, talking about Bitcoin and the age of Aquarius, how that's all related. And since then, we've gotten to know each other even more on the Twitter Spaces. You've been doing a great job just keeping the community together, keeping us positive, keeping us in the loop with what's going on with BSV. So thank you for that. And hopefully today we can explore more of the topics we talked about last time, as they seem very pertinent to right now. I mean, like this week right now.
Topics like right now. Well, one thing also is the court case. It's a hot topic as well, and the Satoshi identity trial. And there's so much in the news right now. I see these Bitcoin magazines things about saying everybody. The good news is we finally found out that we'll never know who Satoshi is, and we know for sure it's not this one guy. And then they forget to say, but by the way, it's still on appeal. It's actually not settled yet. So.
Yeah, they're so quick to just wipe Craig Wright from the internet, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they're giving the guy so much press. His face, his
Yeah,
name is just everywhere. You know,
everywhere.
so that's just marketing 101. Like any press really is good press. Look at Donald Trump, right? We've talked about this on Spaces. Like he's the master of it. Like, who cares if it's bad press? He's just growing the brand.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so maybe that's a good place to start regarding the anything that you think about. Seems like you're really you specialize in whether it's the gematria or the Age of Aquarius stuff. What are your how does any of that apply to the court case with Craig Wright? Or maybe you can give us your interpretation on that.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, basically, like everything that we've ever been told and that we see, especially on the world stage, is mostly scripted, if not completely scripted. And it's done by the numbers and the math and the science based on gematria, which is the Kabbalistic practice of decoding numbers into words. And then you've got numerology, which is basically math. And then you've got astrology, of course. Then and I'm not like the astrology. I'm not the expert in any of these things. But what I've learned is that it's absolutely fundamental to your worldview and your analysis, especially as an investor, to consider all of these things. I saw Crypto Rick post actually on Twitter, calling out this guy that's saying, "Oh, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just watch the XRP chart. It's about to moon." And Crypto Rick had a great point. He's like, you're going to call me out and think that all this Riddler stuff and this decoding stuff is like childish nonsense. But the reality is you're playing. We're playing in a really big game with really big players that absolutely use these practices. So if you're just going by a chart, I love technical analysis as much as the next guy. I'm kind of a nerd about it, honestly, but even I'll admit that that's half of my analysis. If that, it might even be a little less at this point, the way things are going. So we can definitely dig into some charts. We can, talk about the portfolio that I put together called the Aquarium Portfolio. But I did want to mention, just before we wrap up with Craig Wright and all the press he's getting, it hit me today that the one place you don't see any resistance in the media or anywhere in regards to Craig Wright and who is Satoshi is anything to do with the military industrial complex. I haven't
Military
seen,
industrial complex? Like what's an example of that?
oh my God. Well, just think of the technology that's available now, that's been created by DARPA, the NSA. Obviously, they patented SHA-2 encryption. Uh, like you just don't. I don't know. You don't see any generals or anything that's part of the military that is really in opposition to BSV or Craig Wright or Terranote or Bitcoin as a technology. Most of that comes from the mainstream media and its politics and its Silicon Valley. So
Hmm.
just keep that in mind when, speaking to the viewer, like when you're really thinking about who created Bitcoin and why, And think about who could be against it, and you start to see where all the pieces of the puzzle land, and who's actually telling the truth in the situation. So what I'm suggesting, I can't prove this. I have some data, but what I'm suggesting is that Bitcoin is part of the new order. I'm not even going to call it the new world order anymore. I don't like that, and I don't think it's supposed to succeed. I think we, the people, are going to build this thing from the ground up using Bitcoin as the technology to transition humanity from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and we're going to dream it and visualize it and create it. But it's going to play a fundamental role in high level technologies that the military has been way advanced. Anything from AI to robotics to drones to even weapons. Unfortunately, all of this stuff is going to be tracked, traced, and monitored on the blockchain through micropayments in what I call the IoT, or the Internet of Things.
Trying to help the basic layperson out there understand that when you ignore things that are legally entered into Pentagon directives, college textbooks, and other legal documents that are required by universities for PhDs, that's going to catch up to you. And when you decide that you're too stupid, you can't understand, well, that's how we end up with an intelligent cluster-based routing protocol and going through the human body. And people are out there right now telling you none of this is real. There's no computer networking through the human body. If there was, someone would have told us. Now, watch this. This is the Synergy Tech Metric PDF. Now, these papers are not just from the MDPI. They're not only from Cambridge. They're not only from your Elsevier journal. They're not only from Wiley. They're from everywhere. And when I type in emergent technology on Wikipedia, I'm told that the blockchain Bitcoin is not here yet. So that means that Bitcoin, 3D printing, nanotechnology is not in use. So for any of you right now that have a Bitcoin wallet, you're having a mass hallucination. I'm not joking. I'm not being hyperbolic. This says energy harvesting. Yeah. What kind of energy are they harvesting? Human, kinetic, intragalvanic, piezoelectric energy. Now you're going to tell me, oh, there's just no way. We don't have wireless sensor networks. And I said and showed we've had biosensors since the 1950s. So what we have had to endure for 5 years are psychological operations. And then everyone goes, well, that's their job and they have to do it. They're killing people. It's called a kill box. They are killing people. And whoever you are, you're letting them. You're not reading.
So that is, in short, what I just described. What I refer to now as the Phoenix Beast system, the Bitcoin endgame, and it's not all bad, but it really depends who's at the helm and what we the people like how we respond to all of it.
So a lot of people, it seems like many people who are in my other groups of friends that I have, they're skeptical about Bitcoin and this thing because they think that it's going to be tracking. For example, there's a guy on Twitter. He talks about CBDCs and how they're bad. And I mean, how could it be possible? I mean, I can kind of go with that. I could see, okay, yeah, I could see their point, but what is it seems like your point is just the opposite. Like there's a whole other side to it. Like, actually, wait a second, guys. It actually could fit together. So how in a good way, how can you describe that? This could be a good way to be all on chain and as opposed to
right. Well, who really knows for sure, right? But
I want to hear. Yeah, I mean, we've heard. It seems like I've heard every negative argument, right? It's like I get that, and it makes sense. So, but I want to hear now. Okay, now let's see how actually that could be totally. There would be another angle, and this is actually the best thing ever for humanity.
Okay, well, a good segue into the good stuff is unfortunately we should always acknowledge the shadow, right? The realities of the situation. And I'm not going to, hang on it too much, but the reality with central bank digital cryptocurrencies, from the high level overview, is that they're an extension of the Piscean order, which is central banking, which developed from the fall of Rome, with the Knights Templar, where they were the first bankers, and it's just been this poison that's just infiltrated almost every country, and now there's central banks established worldwide, just about, and they are the problem. In my opinion, well, order followers are really the problem, but the problem is that they follow the orders of central banks and governments is the key issue. So CBDCs. Absolutely, the plan is they're being tested, pilot tested, rolled out in some places. That's happening. And sure, you could run CBDCs on Bitcoin, but I don't know. I don't think that's the play. I actually see well, the negative side of it is that it kind of has all the things you can do with Bitcoin in terms of chain analysis, tracking, tracing, surveilling. So that's a bad thing in the old system of the Piscean order, which is irrelevant now. Like, I don't think it's even going to make it, honestly. I don't even want to harp on it too much because it's just like, if you just focus on Bitcoin and this new age of enlightenment and solar punk technology, then it's just going to make all that stuff kind of uninteresting and obsolete anyway, as the world is steadily waking up, more so now than ever. I don't know if they're going to bend the knee to CBDCs. I mean, some will, some won't, and so what? That's a song I wrote called "Responsible." Like, that's how I take responsibility. It's, well, some will, some won't, and so what? And so, I'm full speed ahead on Bitcoin, because the good side, right, the positive side of Bitcoin is that it's a tool for the first time in history to actually keep everyone and everything accountable. And I'm talking, all right, everyone is going to use Bitcoin. Okay, well, if you're going to force this on us and me and everyone else, speaking to the powers that be, well, then you're going to use it too. So now the governments have to use Bitcoin, and the corporations have to use Bitcoin, Silicon Valley, the central banks. All right, we're all using Bitcoin. Well, guess what? Everything's on chain. So now you're held accountable, and they can get real fun, how, like, the justice system could evolve and kind of revert back to common law, natural law, and the people can actually be the jury. We can help make the verdict, and, like, okay, well, this was actually wrong,
Yeah.
and here's the penalty for that. We can vote on it, like, on chain. I mean, that's where I see all this going in a good way, which is totally way better and more interesting than central bank digital crypto CBDCs. I'm just like, yeah, thing's a mouthful anyway. I'm just like, all right, well, Bitcoin.
Yeah, it sounds like your point is that people could have, everything becomes auditable, and it's not that it's a problem for us. I mean, we're small time, but it's the big fish, the governments, or these big banks, that we really don't know what's going on, and we don't know how much money. We think we have an idea how much money is being printed, but wouldn't it be nice if we could actually say, like, okay, now we can actually verify everything, and if they're going to cheat, they may still cheat, but we can see it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We could,
100%. I don't know if you follow Bit Freedom on Twitter or
yeah.
X. He's great. So he blew my mind with this chart. He took the S&P 500 and he divided it by the Fed balance sheet, and, like, holy smokes, man! Like, it literally, like, we think the value of the stock market's like, whoa, all-time highs, but it's actually been on a massive decline compared to the
Mm.
amount of money in circulation that's been printed, and the whole thing's just an illusion. And he was the first person that ever, showed me that
Wow.
chart. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna test this. So I pulled it up in TradingView, and I'm like, oh my God, how does nobody know this?
So speaking of trading view, it sounds like one of the things we were talking about here before we got started was that your goal is to stack sats, like stack as much as you can in stats. But in
Mm.
order to do that, you got to be able to make money. Um, so what's your strategy for making money
Yeah,
with this?
always. Money making's good. I like it. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with taking profits. It's just part of the abundance mindset, that takes maturity and is intentionally not taught in government indoctrination camps or schools. We're not taught anything about money or the law on purpose. So I think it's good to really be open to the possibility for you or me or anyone to really step into, like, some ungodly abundance or godly abundance, I should say, that we never thought was possible. So I'm always open to all kinds of things. I've been in all kinds of different network marketing things, which, some didn't really turn out to be Ponzi schemes, but you learn so much about the art of connecting with people and the ability to sell yourself and sell a product or a service that you're offering. Right now, my focus has been, like, last fall, I launched the Aquarian Artist Alliance on ageofaquarius.org, and it's closed for now. I've got a nice little incubator of a great group of souls that are basically, we're all masterminding these markets. I've put together 30 crypto assets specifically that are based on solar punk technology. So that's transparency blockchains, lunar punk technology, and that's privacy coins, and the quantum financial system, which we should definitely get into next. And that's a big thing. And of course, I got like some meme coins and whatever, but that's it's whatever. It's just a flash in the pan, if you ask me. So that's what I've been doing, and I have different tiers of service that I offer. Eventually, it'll be like a small monthly payment to get access to my charts, the portfolio. Eventually, maybe a yearly, one-time fee that's cheaper, where you get the whole year covered, and maybe a lifetime thing. And then on a higher level, I am working with a few friends / high net worth investors that don't want anything to do with crypto. They don't have the time for it, the discipline to learn it, deal with it, the volatility. So, we worked out an agreement where it's like, here's some cash, go invest it, and here's the deal. And then you do like a split. So those are some ideas that anybody else can do if you have these skill sets. Otherwise, Gavin, with the unemployment now at 4.3% and climbing, entering like real recession fears, hence why the yield curve is inverting on the 10-year bonds. The job market it's I mean, you do what you got to do, but it's like you're never going to get ahead by design working 1, 2, 3 jobs. If you really want to stack sats, you've got to get creative, and you got to tap into your real skill sets, your creativity, and offer something to the market that they can't refuse. And don't be afraid to charge for it. Don't be afraid to charge what you're worth, not what you think somebody else thinks it's worth, because it's your time, which is, at the end of the day, the most valuable thing. So that's what I'm doing. And those are some ideas that anybody else can do. But stacking sats is definitely the play. I mean, I'm loving the technology, the innovation on chain. We're seeing it big time. But at the end of the day, we're so early that, to me, I don't want to build something too big, too fast, put all this money into a project when that ain't it, basically. Like, no, that wasn't it. Down the toilet. Right now, it's best to just extract as much fiat currency as you can from the markets in an ethical, legal way, and trade it. And that's how you vote with your dollars or yen or euro. So you're voting for your blockchains of choice, and that's the real vote that we can cast in this election.
All right, so we'll talk on the subject of extracting as much fiat from the market as possible.
Yeah.
Crypto Riku, you mentioned, he talks about some of those altcoins, that I'm not too familiar with, but some of them, I think it was XPR or others that he believes are good. And so what is your strategy? And also is it well, if people don't have the knowledge to go onto all these other altcoins, or is it the quantum financial system? Is that the number one priority? I mean, I heard that was just a narrative that was put out there that isn't even accurate. I mean, what is the deal?
No, it is not a narrative. It's real. Okay. It's happening. And when I bring up the military industrial complex, you've got these guys like David Chaum behind XX Network. That's one I recommend. Chart looks terrible. Who cares, right? Like, this guy's like an OG originator of blockchain tech and cryptography, and he's building a quantum secure messaging system called XX Network. So quantum computers are much closer than we think. And why not have more security and more redundancy, because you can build all these things into Bitcoin. Just like artificial intelligence, there's a lot of hype around that. That's also in the portfolio for a trade. There's things like Render, and now Fetch is consolidating to this artificial singularity internet or whatever coin it is. And that's all good for a trade, but Yeah, this kind of brings up a point of contention that I have, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to share this with you on your platform. Um, it's like there seems to be a hard line in the road between XRP and BSV. Though what's striking is that the similarities of the belief systems and the awareness and everything, the same different groups of people are very much in the same. It's like that chart where the two circles come together, and then the circle in the middle is like how we're the same. It's kind of like that, but here's how it's very different. In my opinion, because I don't know for sure, XRP, Ripple, XPR, and many of these X coins, they are basically piggybacking off of, like I said, the Piscean system of central banking. So like to me, like that stuff is more of like the CBDC tyrannical vibes than Bitcoin in its fullness. And to me, like you got to kind of go deep and be real with yourself when you're looking at this. I mean, if you look at the founders of Ripple, if you look at how shady so much of it is in their operations, and then just the fact that like this isn't even being advertised.
Jed
Quantum financial
McCaleb, I mean,
system.
the guy started. Jed McCaleb started everything. God bless him. I mean, in Mount Gox, founder of Mount Gox. I know there's no connection, right? I get it. That's what they say. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
left Mount Gox after it went down. Okay, he was already gone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. I, that's my point of contention. Is like if you're really supporting Ripple and the XRPL ecosystem, there's some projects there that are massively undervalued. If this was to catch wind and ground, or if it was the plan anyway to just roll fiat money into this new QFS system, there's some massive trading opportunities there if that pans out. And
Yeah.
it's not something I'm going to sit out on. I'll be honest, but at the same time, it's not totally in alignment with my heart when it comes to voting with my dollars and trading them for like, BSV and Satoshis. And then some of these privacy coins that I really like, like Monero, Pirate Chain, Dero.
So what are the opportunities? Is Crypto Rick says that I think it's XPR is one of the biggest opportunities for one of the altcoins. Is that one of the what is the chart? What I mean, if
Yeah.
if you could focus on one or two that people could think about, maybe they want to look into. What would
Oh,
you what would
oh
you
God, yeah.
suggest?
Yeah, God, yeah. I mean, you don't have to be a paying customer for me to just want to help you out. But if you want ongoing support, then yeah, it's nice to contribute to your brother. But yeah, you just go to metalx.com. Okay. And you're going to
Metal
see
X.
metalx.com. When Rick turned me on to this, I was like, whoa, okay, there's actually something here with XRP. Um, and it really opened my eyes. So, you can get the wallet, which is the WebAuth wallet. You got to be careful doing this stuff because, yeah, you could make a mistake. It's pretty early, but it's also the UI is just exceptional. The onboarding process it's becoming smoother by the day. So you get the wallet, and then when you start trading, it's like a DEX. It literally just opens up. I don't have to log into an account. Once you have your wallet, it syncs right up with the exchange. So your WebAuth syncs right up to the exchange, and then here you can see there's very few coins that are listed. Maybe I can make this a little bigger. Yeah, wow, it's probably way better.
I don't even think I've heard of any of those coins.
I know, man. I know. So, but it's something we in Bitcoin need to be aware of because to me, this is the competitor. If Bitcoin's really going to free humanity from the central banking tyrannical system that has been and always will be, that's never getting better. I think we can agree on that. That's there's no way central banking is ever going to be a good idea. So we need a distributed timestamp ledger with payments baked in the cake. That's Bitcoin. So the QFS and the CBDC system, I think, is all. I mean, Ripple's probably not kidding when they're talking to banks and having these partnerships behind the scenes. But if you take a look at XPR,
What about Tether? Is that on there?
so you would have to send. I think you can, but you would have to send USDC to
They
this.
these don't look like they're not staked in Tether.
No,
I think
no, it's
that was
it's
one of the things that Rick, I remember saying. He said that these are not tethered.
well,
Is that
yeah, that's
true?
it. Do you see how there's an X in front of like BTC, X, ETH? X Doge, X Hedera. So that's part of Rick's thesis, which anyone watching, you really have to dig into his content to protect yourself if you're buying these things, because it's so sketchy, in my opinion, like I've been saying, that there's going to be some kind of event that triggers a clawback. So just like when the government said, give us your gold back by threat, force and threat, extortion, and then they paid him back, but it wasn't 1-to-1, whatever they got in cash. It was like they got way less for the value of their gold. Okay, so something similar could happen with these assets should they really take off. Should Elon Musk, use the Ripple or XRPL ecosystem? Why wouldn't he? I mean, we're using X. We see how it's changing. We see the colors, the logos, everything is it has this confluence, and in the world of marketing, you want to have that congruity, just to the eye, just to the feel of things. I wouldn't be surprised if he said, all right, we're going to use Metal X. They've already got the money transmitter licenses, X does, and then they've got this XRPL ecosystem built out where Ripple could be a stable coin or just part of it. But one thing I should point out, if I pull up the gematria calculator, seems like I'm logged in, but let me add my ciphers here. I like to have all these weird things. so check this out. It's pretty wild. So XRP, all right, and anyone can do this. I encourage it. Gematrinator.com, and there's free ones out there too. This is free for the most part, but yeah. So this is all the gematria, these different ciphers, and these are the numbers that you get from these different ordinals, from the different ciphers. So the English ordinal is one of them, right? That's what I meant to say, is that each cipher, you take each letter of the alphabet, and the number will be different for each cipher. Okay, and this is the people that run the world and script everything. They use this. It's not even up for debate. And if someone really wants to go down that rabbit hole, you got to check out Zach on Gematria Effect News. He's probably one of my favorite decoders when it comes to sports and celebrities and celebrity deaths and weather events. Like, this dude is just on it every day. He's gotten deplatformed from YouTube well over 10 times after having massive audiences. So he's really been struggling to just get the word out because of censorship, and of course collective ignorance, but that's a whole nother story. But check this out, right? So XRP, we did that one. Now what if I do XPR? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. In the code and in the numbers. So I don't take this lightly when I know how important gematria is on the world stage and money and finance. I don't take it lightly. And if you go back to the chart here for XPR, I mean, damn, dude, look at this thing. It's it's way under a penny. 0.0008. It was the last price. I mean, dude, if this thing even went to $1, you could turn literally $800 into $1 million. I don't know how long that would take or if it would ever happen. Obviously, this isn't financial advice, but me just using basic charting on a daily chart. Shit, man, this looks like a very bullish falling wedge pattern.
What does it do? What is the utility of this altcoin?
Well, that I don't know, and honestly, I don't even care too much. Like I said, this stuff for me is all good for a trade. Huh. I mean, damn. So the target for this is very good, which would get you up to back up on this resistance easily. I mean, this is about to break out. I mean, you might have a little more ruffling around here at the end of this here, maybe one more wick down. I doubt it, because this is very low liquidity. Nobody knows about this. So Rick is onto something with this stuff. I'm kind of giving away the goods by sharing to everybody for free. But, if your intention is freedom for humanity and you're cool with privacy coins and privacy tech built on, Bitcoin blockchain, then, hey, do it for a trade.
Yeah, and I have Rick scheduled for a couple. It's not too far out. Let's
good.
See what day? Yeah, I have him on the 28th, 2 weeks from now.
Man, I wish you guys.
He hasn't done any. I don't think he's been doing too much. Well, he's been doing his own thing, but so yeah, he'll be back on the 28th. So.
Oh no way! Rick. I invited him into my private group just as a friend and a collaborator. Which is a very rare exception. Someone really has to meet a fine line of criteria where they can add tremendous value. And he was like, yeah, sure. And he's just been very supportive, just a great human being. overall. I would try to get him on sooner, actually, if I were you, because the fact that this settlement just ended between Ripple and the SEC, and we're right now in the 33rd week of the year after the 33rd Olympics, and the 15th of August is 33 days after the planned Trump assassination attempt. Keep in mind, Gary Gensler is the 33rd chair of the SEC. So something's about to happen here. Elon's about to launch X payments, X TV, all this stuff, X, right? And let me go back to the gematria calculator here just to.
Okay, go back and share your screen again. Yeah.
All right, so X is 24 in English ordinal, right? The 24th letter of the alphabet. Also, it is the Hebrew year of 5784. Look at that.
5784.
It's 2024. And it's X. Elon bought X.com.
X
he got a great deal on it, I'm sure. Yeah, and, XRP doesn't have a 24 in it, but it's X. I mean, X is the logo, So all these things are connected.
Speaking of the, okay, back to the Craig Wright case again. You said that something about 36 days that, can you go through your theory about the 36 days thing and what that means? So you said that the case was filed on the 36th day of the year, and then what was the rest of the theory?
Yeah, so basically, it was August 5th that he filed the appeal?
Yeah, the application of appeal, August 5th.
Oh, okay, so I'm going to do this a little backwards, but if I was to do, say, July 1st of this year, so August 5th, no, I'm sorry, so July 1st up until August 5th was 35 days, so I don't know. I actually think the news came out on the 6th, but either way, you're right on the money where you're basically 36 days apart here. The key metric to keep in mind was that the Copa v. Wright, case at the High Court, it was rescheduled to take place on February 5th, which is in the air sign of Aquarius, that whole time period, no coincidence. And here you have the 36th day of the year with 330 days left in the year. And here we are in the 33rd week of the year, just after Craig Wright filed the appeal. So this is all connected. It's all connected. And my hope is that the more I share this stuff, openly, I'm really trying to teach and be fair about it. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm trying to be rational and logical, keep my feet on the ground. I've written songs about this stuff. I know what I have to do to get my head out of the clouds, but also bring heaven down to earth. But at the same time, to not consider that there is so much more. Like the Transformers movie, there's more than meets the eye. There's so much more that if you're not considering all these things and some wild ideas and probabilities, then you're gonna miss the boat. Or you're going to get completely fleeced when this cookie crumbles. And I don't want to see that happen to you or anyone. So being open-minded is really, it's the way, it's the way, because I can't look at this information, Gavin, and be like, oh, well, that's a coincidence. We got 330 days left in the year. On the 36th day of the year, obviously 33 is the master number. You can see that it is 666 is the 36th triangular number. And if anyone wants to rehash that, they can watch our last stream, but that's the mark of the beast, So whether it's Bitcoin or it's like this XRP CBDC system that's unfolding as we speak, thanks to Elon and Trump and all these globalists. Well, my most basic deduction is the Ron Paul meme. It's happening. It's like like the Economist magazine. It's like, yeah, right. It's to get ready for world currency. Like, you can't deny that the script and the timelines, the numerology, the astrology, everything is lining up to the code, to perfection. It's a plan, and it's unfolding. So get ready for a world currency. And that means a lot of things. It means taking full accountability and self-responsibility for your life, your assets, anything you have to your name that you value that is physical. The point of this shift into the Aquarian age, this air age, which is time of ascension, is to break down the ego. So there's a lot of rituals on the world stage that literally, between fear and actual death in some cases, it's really breaking down the collective conscious, like their psyche. It's breaking down their ego. Whoever you thought you were, or how powerful and rich and all the things you had in the sports cars and these things, it doesn't matter. like that no one's getting through the fire free. So that's the point. These are all tests. And to me, Bitcoin is just so profound. It is the end game. It is a Turing complete supercomputer, as Craig Wright first said, and then Xiaowei Liu later proved at Scrypt. Like, like if people aren't seeing this, you're failing the test.
Yeah.
Because you got to at least consider it. And I don't know what's on the other side of passing this test when the trials are done. But I'd have to imagine that everything we've seen with BTC in the last 15 years is going to look like a blip in the radar.
What's the future look like for BTC?
So I actually got a message from someone who's very important to me. You know him well, Rafael Laverde, the crypto vigilante, and he hit me up today and he's like, what are you cooking for Fractal? And I knew right away what he was talking about because
Fractal, I heard him talking about that. What is that?
I'm kind of like you in a way, Gavin, when it comes to the technology. Like, I'm here for the end result, which is like peace and harmony and abundance for all. How we get there and the technicalities of it is like, all right, well, somebody's going to figure it out. I'm just here supporting, investing, building it up. You know what I mean? Getting the message out. So I don't get too lost in the weeds with this stuff, but I'm open to it. Anyway, Fractal is something that I'm now digging into, but essentially, right, at a high level overview from what I can deduce from it is that Unisat, some team, I'm assuming it's Unisat, maybe others, they figured out how to scale BTC with smart contracts, low cost transactions, and fast transactions. Now, the elephant in the room is that I think this is wonderful, but I just want to be real with everyone about it. I'm going to be real about it, right? If I was to pursue anything with Fractal or anybody else, just be aware that it's what a friend of mine, Schwank, would call a mental Bitcoin play. So that means that you're looking at over $1 trillion of liquidity in BTC, right? It's almost like if you're the honeycomb, which is BTC, and the bears want to get some honey, they're going for the biggest honeycomb. They want the honey, So a mental Bitcoin play is basically like using your creativity and offering value to the market, the BTC marketplace, whereas you can extract that value and now you get some BTC and you can do with whatever you want with that, right? You can buy some BSV.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. You cash out, buy your first house if that's you. It's all good, right? It's all good. As long as your intention is good and you're not misleading or cheating people or scamming people. Like in Solana, then it's all good. But I gotta check out Fractal because Raph told me about this, and when Raph speaks, when it comes to crypto, especially, I listen. Very similar with Jack Liu. I just love these guys. They're pioneers in Bitcoin. They're way OGs. I mean, like they got experience in business, marketing, exchanges. Like they just got it all. So like, and they're not leaving the party. Like they're here to the end. So when they see something and they point something out, I always perk up and consider it. And this is big because if there's a way to scale BTC, then I do believe there might be a possibility for BTC to surpass 100,000.
I don't want to write this off, so don't consider it that way. But when I was at the Scrypt meetup in Palo Alto, I recorded it. It's on my channel a few videos back. You can watch Xiaowei Liu, and I asked him. I said, "So hey, have you heard about runes and on BTC and the bank? I think the bank project that Jack was doing." And I thought, isn't that great that they're scaling BTC? He's like, "Well, those are layer 2 projects." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know. That's just an alt layer." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." I was like, at that point, my mind immediately shut off. I'm like, okay, never mind. I'm sorry that I'm biased and prejudiced against anything off chain, but once I hear layer 2, I'm like, oh, I'm not, I'm out, so I'm not interested. I thought they were actually doing something on chain. Is that what you're talking about? Scaling on chain, or are we going off into more versions of alt, layers? Multiple layers or bridges, because that's where all the risk is. The bridges and all this alt stuff. And that's where all the risk is. So
can you imagine having like real sats locked up in this like on-chain stuff?
Yeah,
and we don't even
exactly.
know the future
I'm over here in this
Bitcoin?
bridge that's a layer 2 that is I that's For me, I don't know. So what's the deal with that? Is there a bridge or a layer two involved? Do you know?
It's, hey man, no shame in that game.
Yeah.
Let me just I'm gonna share my screen and show you
Okay,
because
please. Yeah.
I'm not the expert on this, right? But all I can do is say, hey, look over here and see what's going on. I got the site right here. Okay, so you can go to fractalbitcoin.io, and it simply says Fractal Bitcoin is the only Bitcoin scaling solution, right, that uses the Bitcoin core code itself to recursively scale unlimited layers on top of the world's most secure and held blockchain.
Mm.
Okay, so it's a truly native scaling
It
solution.
says it's on chain. I
Yeah,
gotta I
yeah.
gotta ask Xiaowei Lu, man. He would know. He would
Oh,
know.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, of
You
course. I
know,
mean, he's Mr. Recursive,
like he would
with
know if
ZK.
this is legit or not, if they're actually
Yeah.
doing this or if it's another altcoin.
Oh no, this is dude, this is big. This is so big that I'm actually a little more bullish on BTC. When we get into a chart in a minute here, I'll explain the probabilities because that's really the big time sensitive thing I wanted to get out there. But so this is big, right? But just to piggyback off like the what to focus on, what cryptos are worth a damn, and the least amount of risk. There was a video that surfaced about the truth about Solana, and I've always been skeptical about Solana, and I'm not going to state too many facts because you can watch that video, 40-minute video, and be like, okay.
The truth about Solana. So is it good? Are they doing good things over there? Are they running a legitimate business or what?
No way, man. No, no way, man. Come on.
What?
I know. Well, it's figures, right? But so like you could, for one, just check Crunchbase, which is a great platform where you can see, how much money was raised for anything and who put that money in and when and stuff. So you can see that Solana is heavily VC funded. So you've got a bunch of billionaires that don't care. I'm not gonna say they don't care about humanity, but they don't need money. So like their only interest is growing their money and growing their empire. So they're not really. I don't think they really care about the technology itself. So Solana, yeah, I mean, just the fact that it's so heavily VC funded, these investors, they're not. They not. It's not like they might sell. They are very strategically and intentionally going to unload bags of Solana, millions, probably billions, millions and millions of Solana when the price is right. It's like the game show. So it's a game. And I'm not opposed to holding Solana.
What?
In fact, I recommend it as a trade. Like these are trades, but just know when this is like if it's a globalist trade, you have to get out before the globalists do. You have
What's
to
the
follow them.
utility
And,
of Solana?
well,
What does it do?
it's a lot like Coinbase with its on-chain summer. They basically look at everything that BSV is and does, and they copy it, and then they like package it up with a bunch of money and marketing and their whole like cabal network behind it, and then they scam everybody else as much as they can. I'm not saying you can't make money
scam?
with these things. Yeah, like I
Oh,
mean.
that's
I don't want to I don't want to pull such a big punch. I don't want to pull that big of a punch to say that Solana is a scam,
that's
but like, dude, I mean, you know it, man. You know it. It's just
man,
like,
that's sad. You know.
what's sad, Gavin, is that we were in the room in San Francisco at the S-Script Hackathon, and I showed up there with all my stuff, Age of Aquarius banners. I got the books, the only dude out there with a booth, and because I wanted to like share with all the developers and the great minds in Bitcoin, like, hey, man, like check out this idea I have for hyper Bitcoinization, and then like see where it goes. And the result of that conference, I mean, granted, it was off the heels of Judge Meller basically saying that Craig Wright lost, prematurely. So the energy was kind of like up and down. So people were kind of in their feels like, oh, BSV's dead. Solana's where it's at. They're doing everything right. They got the marketing, this and that and that. I'm telling you, man, like that's all smoke and mirrors. If there's one thing that people that run the world in the deep state, the military-industrial complex, central banking, all of it, right? They know how to cast one hell of an illusion. So much so that you might think you see something with your own eyes that wasn't actually there. It was a holographic illusion. And that's like a deeper level of looking at things, so just be very careful. If you're going to play with these things, I would say do it for a trade, but have your stop limit set. Take these off exchanges, of course, and just get out before the globalists do, because the way this ends, I do not think the globalists win in the end. I don't think they're going to get their new world order. There's going to be a new order. But you best believe, man, we're here building it, and we're not
Yeah.
going anywhere, but it's going to be a better way and not more of the same, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So let's go. Now let's go into the charts in the last 5 minutes and see what's on your mind here with the charting. People are probably a lot of people are interested in that. There might be some ways to make some money on some of these altcoins that are out there.
Yeah, so time is of the essence. Like most technical analysts in the space, and there's many that I respect. I mean, I love it. Waters Above is bar none my favorite
Waters above
technical.
crypto.
Oh yeah, man, he's bar none my favorite analyst. I subscribe to his Patreon. I'm a paid supporter of his work. He's just obviously a great person, very hardworking, very disciplined. He comes from the world of online marketing, so you can tell he's got like a ton of courses. He's got his subscribers growing across the board. And right when I was getting into the decoding and all these things was around the time that's how I found him, because I was like starting to search for like numerology and gematria. And then I just took it, I did what I think everyone should do if they're serious about charting. You need to start like practicing this and learning it yourself. And he teaches all that stuff too. He's got courses and everything. But yeah, man, the numerology, gematria, astrology, like master it, and you'll master yourself. So this is a chart that I'm really proud of. It's a combination of another analyst I love, Optical Art Crypto. I copied a chart that he made because I also paid for his service, and then I just do my own thing with it. I run with it because he's just exceptional with Fibonacci circles. But let me zoom out to the weekly chart here. There's a lot going on. One thing I picked up from Waters was using the moon cycles. So the blue is that's a new moon, I believe, and well, I can just look here and see. Yeah, so we got the full moon coming up, full moon in Aquarius. So the blue moons are new moons, the white are the full moons, and you can see. I mean, look at the trend. The trend follows the moons. It follows the lunar and solar cycles. So
Wow.
this is kind of where we're at, man. This chart's kind of a mess, but I like look at this, like almost to the tick. This blue Fibonacci ring. Typically, once we break above these, you go to the next ring, which is way out there. But once we broke through, we had a little bit of a pump, and then we just kind of rode down this thing. Actually, now that I'm zoomed in, let me get into the daily chart here. All right. So this is the 6-month trading range that we've been in. Hello. What's going on here? It's a big question to ask. Is this a Wyckoff distribution pattern? What means, hey, we're at the top of the market. Price goes up, institutions sell into retail buys again, institutions sell, cycle repeat, and then that ultimately ends in a capitulation into a bear market, extended bear market. So hopefully that's not the case, otherwise this is a bull flag. But you can see this blue Fibonacci ring, we've really been holding it strongly as support, riding down it, which is not uncommon. So we're riding down this blue ring. We got this nice move after the Trump pump. This will forever be known as the Trump pump. Just absolutely insane. Like, I mean, dude, the measured move from here to the top was 30%. And most of that happened in like a week or 2 weeks. That was
Trump at
totally
the BTC conference.
Well, yeah. Actually, the BTC conference was like the ultimate time to be like, all right, maybe it's time to take some profits. Like that was a no-brainer, whenever celebrities and everyone's pushing something, an investment on, that's like not when you want to buy into it. You're wait for a pullback and then get in if it's really something that's worth it. But yeah, this was the BTC Nashville where it really topped out. And this was a huge crash because this whole run-up was unsustainable. And so here we are again. We tagged both of these blue fib rings, had this massive bounce. This is looking really strong so far. But, we're still under massive resistance, like truly we need to get above 63K or 66 at best, before we can start blasting off the new all-time highs. And that's when you'll see altcoins go. So, one thing I want to really just put on everyone's radar is that, I think there's a high possibility that war escalates. And not just between Israel and Palestine, but also Russia, Ukraine. It could escalate as early as Thursday and Friday. And so what that would look like in the charts, in my opinion, it would be an opportunity. Unfortunately, I'd hate to just make it about money, but, despite the suffering and people getting hurt over this, I think that the globalists will use it as an opportunity to push price up and send it back down. Now, to the degree of which we get sent back down, I don't know, man, but I've got 45K as like the lowest reasonable target. It could go lower, and if it does, probably have problems. Like, I'm talking bear market problems. But, hey, if you see 44K BTC and the altcoins get absolutely destroyed, like, to me, this is the back up the truck moment that we've been waiting for. And then we can expect October to be very bullish. It's this Libra season. I'm a Libra. It's time of balance. There's just been a lot of stagnation and not much profit making in these markets if you're like buying and holding. And I think the payoff is long overdue across the board. Even the stock markets, I could see if they don't take another leg down, then I could see another leg up. And that's the moment. So I'm really looking at the next 3 to 6 months as being as like the opportunity to take what capital you can afford to risk and take a gamble on some of these trades. But most importantly, it could be one of the last opportunities to buy true Bitcoin under $50 a coin. So that was the timeliness of this stream. Just want to give everyone a heads up about the war element. That's obviously unfortunate. But if you're not directly affected by it, it presents an opportunity in the markets, and I do think that would be the last one if price holds. I think.
So is that the other chart you want to look at, the BSV chart?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, it seems a little high at 60,000 a coin, So I don't know. It just seems like
I know.
Unless you're betting on, Michael Saylor said it was going to go to $1 million. I think he said at the BTC conference. So if that's the bags people want to bet. The economics of that is so bizarre to me. I'm just like, dude, I mean, it just doesn't seem to add up.
No. It's scary. I mean, it's truly scary. People like Michael Saylor, they're not telling you they care about humanity. They don't care about you. It's unfortunate too, because I'm a musician. I see a lot of my favorite musicians, and they sold out. I mean, these people they're in for themselves, and there's no way out of the contract other than a death sentence in most cases. So I do believe, I don't know for sure, but I do believe Michael Saylor is one of the guys on the inside that is just kind of the face of this BTC Ponzi, for lack of a better word. Just like he lost 13 billion in the .com bubble, and Bitcoin is a 13 to be, right? Well, in Nashville, he said that it's going to go to 13 million a coin. That's been my target for true Bitcoin, for BSV. And when so I'm like, great, the dude's confirming my speculation. But at the same time, it's not, like, you got to be absolutely sure that N-Chain, with nearly 4,000 approved patents, specifically on Bitcoin blockchain technology, isn't going to be the elephant in the room. Just like
Speaking
Apple,
of that, tomorrow I've got
Microsoft.
Jump in. I've got a big space tomorrow at 10. It's going to be the IP, and it's going to be about IP. Reggie Middleton's going to be on there, and
nice.
then I've got I invited the chief IP officer from N-Chain. Maybe
no way. He's going to be there.
Maybe. There's no confirmation from him, but Reggie will for sure be there, and I'm definitely N-Chain. I invited him, so it's not. It may not be that easy for him just to go in there and talk publicly. I'm sure there's probably got to have a board meeting or something on that. So,
yeah.
But I invited him. I'd love to get those guys more public and see what the heck there is going on with all these patents.
For sure, man. But the way I see it, they're part of such a bigger plan that they don't. It's like ain't nobody got time for that. Like they don't got time for us.
Yeah,
normies
us
out
little
here,
people, exactly.
I mean, they're busy protecting nearly 4,000 patents from getting stolen and hijacked by Silicon Valley. So I mean, that's a whole big thing. But to me, that's the big elephant in the room. All things considered, is if you look at Apple iPhones, if you look at any massive technology, there's patents behind it. And Reggie talks about this all the time. He'll talk about it tomorrow. You know what I mean? So if this is as big and as a long game, and it's all tied to being in this Aquarian age and where things will be better after it gets worse, Bitcoin is absolutely, and blockchain tech it's going to be patented. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be. I would want to protect my intellectual property. I do it for my songs, my artwork, everything, and so you should too. And whether Craig is Satoshi or not is like it's irrelevant. Like the patents matter more than anything else. You know, so
Yeah.
you
So
know
where
here
does
we
that
have.
leave us here with the BSV chart?
Yeah, yeah. So here we have BSV chart.
44 right now. Is that what the price is?
Yeah, yeah. Lucky number 44. So, you know, we've been through this chart before, but as you can see, like this is almost the cheapest it's ever been. The lowest was $18 on Saturn Day, June 10th last year. So what you would be looking for an asset to truly bottom that isn't dead, and this isn't dead, would be a double bottom. Okay, so it's safe to say that this could be a double bottom territory, and you've even got like kind of a you know, these two bottoms here between the July 5th bottom and then this last one we had on August 5th, literally moon to moon. It's like each moon it was a crash. So the question is, will there be another event on the world stage regarding war or something else that really sinks this down closer to, I would like to say, to be fair, about $23? And Bitcoin is 23 in Chaldean. You know, I mean, just to show, like, this is how you use the Gematria calculator, you know? Bitcoin is 23 in Chaldean. So, you know, these targets matter. Actually, just for fun, BSV is 113 in English ordinal. Well, what do you know? During the court case, what price did BSV go to? Right here? Oh, man. $113 right here on, when was this? December 30. I don't know, it was like January 2nd or something, right? Right with the code. And there's obvious technical resistance here, but yeah, that was where it went. So what I'm looking at, right, now that I'll put the indicators back on, it's going to look a little more crazy, but your ultimate support is going to be this trend line here where it bottomed last year at $15. Okay, the world will have to be going to hell in a handbasket, or Craig would have to lose the appeal for that to happen, in my opinion. So, you know, you want to be reasonable and not too greedy when it comes to like stacking sats. So, you know, my downside targets from here, if we get rejected, say, I would say $52, this blue line here, which dates all the way back as support and resistance, but ultimately, you know, that's around $50, right? If we can't get a strong break above $50, while everything else is pumping, when it is, if it is, then yeah, we could be testing these lower targets for a true double bottom. And
nice.
We're looking anywhere from $33 to $25, and really 18 looks good.
All right, Matt, I'm gonna have to wrap here in the last minute here. So we're right under an hour. So,
yeah.
You know, I can't thank you enough. How do people find you?
Well, the band name is 7-letter acronym BLUVNBU, BluvnBü, and I'm that everywhere. Literally, right. You can send payments that way. You can follow me on social media that way. What I would recommend is go to the website BluvnBü.com, and then you'll see my new single 33, which we're gonna be putting on chain here in no time. So,
nice.
Let's make that the biggest song of the year on the BSV blockchain.
Yeah, let's do it again sometime, and let's have get you back on the X Spaces as well, which I've been having you on there as well. I appreciate your participation and. Yeah. And then I've got Crypto Rick coming up, so maybe I'll reach out to him and get it sooner. It sounds like there's a lot of pressing things. So thank you, Matt. Awesome to have you, man. I'll see you at the top.
Beautiful. Right? Thanks, Gavin.
I work to eat and sleep and just repeat. I wonder, is this the life for me? I followed all the rules and did my best, but tragedy put my will to the test. When I found some answers, I spoke up. Then I was cast into the shadows, they chained me up. No, I won't forget the things that they said, and you don't know the places I have been. People said that I was wrong all along. I stayed strong. Batten down the hatches. This is the calm before the storm. The system has been broken, and soon will be no more. The tools, they can enslave us, but they can set us free. This is the last stand for our freedom and our privacy. No, I won't forget the things that they said. You don't know the places I